Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. How you doing? We are live. This is awesome. Very excited to be here today. Let's see. Live chat is going live on Tick to the Talk. Very excited about that. Let's see. We got Restream. So we are live and we are going to be heading into today's kickoff. Very excited about that. Getting pretty close to one channel, making everything happen for me, which I know none of you probably understand what I'm saying, but on Restream now I can do TikTok and YouTube. I don't have much of a following on Twitch or Instagram, but I can go there as well. Let's just see real quick. Do we have anybody? Let me go to the chat. That's not it. All right. What is going on with my monitor situation? I'm not happy about that. All right. I got to go here, here. There we go. All right. I'm going to pull that out. Hey, what's up? Eli hits bombs. KC defense or Texan defense? Ooh, good question. I just listened to a podcast that was all in favor of the Texas defense. So let me just. Can I make this? Okay, I'm trying out some new things, guys. So I apologize in advance if I'm a little wonky. Hey, footballer Nick, how's it going, buddy? Hey, footballer Nick, come back tomorrow. I'll be live from the Cincinnati game. I know you're not a Cincinnati fan. I know you're a, Chargers fan, but I'll be live from the game. All right. KC defense or Houston defense? I'm actually kind of in agreement with what they were saying about that Kansas City. I mean, I think Houston could have a good day defensively. So let's just see here. We're in the chat. Like I said, I'm just trying on some new things today. Yeah, it is a tough defense question. Let me just see what our friends, the experts, say. I might have to put my glasses on. Sucks getting old, that's for sure. So let me get to that. All right, real quick. Chiefs and Texans. Okay, the experts pick Kansas City. I would probably say, I don't know. I have a hard time going against the Kansas City defense. They've been good enough to win most all of their games. Uh, okay, Luke, your question about Purdy. Regarding the defenses, I'll get to Luke's question. I know there's a lot of other questions as well. Let me just see here. Um, I know there's a lot of other questions, so we'll get to those in just a second. Oh, I don't need this question. How do I get rid of it? Okay. Um, all right. We are really filling up with questions, which is awesome. Okay. So I tend to go with the Kansas City and the experts with Kansas City. I tend to go with that. I think Houston will put pressure on Mahomes and such, but I don't think Mahomes passes the ball enough to put up options. And I think CJ Stroud makes sillier decisions. So because of that, I would go with Kansas City defense by like a smidge, by like just a little bit. You know what? I forgot to turn on this ring light or whatever they call it. I don't know if that helps at all. So, all right. DJ Moore or Brees Hall in PPR. Brees Hall has a better matchup, and I'm suspecting Caleb not to have another good week, and that will obviously affect DJ Moore's points. So Let me just see here. I don't care about that. All right. So I would go Brees Hall based on the matchup. Bucky Irving, Brees Hall, or DJ Moore. I would go Bucky Irving, Trey. Let me just move this monitor over. I would go Bucky Irving. He's cleared to play. He's active. He's healthy, so he should be good to go. I mean, you could start Brees Hall, I guess. I would not start DJ Moore. I think Caleb is going to be a work in progress, to say the least. So um, there is that. I'd go Bucky Irving, but if you want to go Brees Hall, you could. He does have a good matchup, but Tampa Bay is a good matchup with the Cowboys. Should I start Purdy? Okay, that was the question, Luke. Sorry about that. Um, my ADHD is kicking in right now as I'm fully awake, and you know what? I haven't had my caffeine from Viter Energy. Viter Energy. It's just I just drink water in the morning, and I take these little chewable breath mints, and they help me a lot. So, and that's not a plug for them. I just use them, and I like them a lot. Purdy, according to the research that they did, after a loss, Purdy plays a lot better. So, given that information, I'm always looking for new and interesting analytics. So, my whole point is, yes, I would start Purdy today. I mean, if he's your best choice at quarterback, now, obviously, if you have Josh Allen, I would start Josh Allen. But if Purdy, after a loss, does a lot better, and he had a loss last week, so apparently, statistically speaking, he did. I didn't write it down. I was actually eating as I was listening. So, but it did sound like good advice. AJ Brown or Joe Mixon, because Joe's playing number one defense. Well, let me just look that up real quick, okay? And remember, guys, we have games today. I know that most of you know that and are like, no kidding, silly. But there are games today starting at 1 o'clock Eastern. It's Kansas City versus Houston today. So just want to make sure that you know that going in. Yeah, they play 1 o'clock Kansas City, Houston, then Baltimore plays Pittsburgh at 4:30 Eastern. All right. Uh AJ Brown or Joe Mixon. I would still go Joe Mixon. The thing with Mixon is that the Chiefs in the last 4 weeks against the run, all right, and I looked this up, they're not as good as they once were. Over the last 4 weeks, on average, they're number 8, so they give up 14.5 points. So I always tend to give receivers in this case, especially number one receivers, a little bit of leeway. And I'd say that, he could get anywhere from 12 and a half to 16 and a half. So I would still start. I would still start Joe Mixon over AJ Brown. Hmm, but AJ Brown, I don't know why I was thinking of somebody else. Hold on 1 second. Washington. Washington against the pass, against wide receivers, is number 12. They give up 20.7. If you give or take 2 points on that, it's 18 to 22. But then he also has to split some of those catches with Devontae, and I think that's where things might break down. So I would still go with Joe Mixon. The Chiefs might be number one for the year, but in the last 4 weeks, like I said, they're not number one. They're, what did I say, number 8. So I would go there. I'm just trying to get to everybody's question. Let me, uh, Garrett Wilson or DK. Looks like DK still might be a little injured. I would go Garrett Wilson. They have, let's see here. The Jets go up against the Rams. The Rams against wide receivers. Come on, Rams. No, the Rams are 10th. They give up 19.8. Wow. Garrett Wilson or DK. DK goes up against Minnesota. That might be a better matchup, but yeah, Minnesota's a lot worse. I would go DK then, based on the matchup. All right, let's see. Thielen or Brees. Well, the way I look at it, and this is how I describe a lot of things. Thielen is Thielen is sort of your stay-at-home steady. He'll get you probably 7 to 12 points. If you want to roll the dice and hope that Brees can, um, score some points, take advantage of the competition, if you will. But Brees has been very inconsistent. So I would see Brees as a riskier pick. He might get you I think he's gotten in the 20s, or then he gets like in the fours. So 4 to 25, let's say, and Thielen probably gets you 8 to 12. So if you want to go steady, but maybe low numbers, you go Thielen. If you want that risk reward situation, I would go Brees. AJ Brown, Mixon. I think I answered that one. Patrick Taylor or Justice Hill. You know what? Justice Hill is somebody I haven't looked up in a while. Let me just look him up. Patrick Taylor is a good fill-in. However, the one thing about Patrick Taylor that bothers me is he doesn't get a lot of yards per carry. He gets like 3. They go up against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh against the run. It's 13th. They give up 15.5. I just don't think Justice Hill will get enough carries or enough points to make it worth your while to start him. That's the problem I have with Justice Hill. So I would go with Patrick Taylor because he's the clear number one, and he's not fighting Derrick Henry for the ball. Bucky Irving, Brees Hall, or DJ Moore. I think I got to that one, didn't I, Trey? I would go Bucky Irving. I'm just going to go to the bottom now. Tyreek Hill or Thielen? Oh, boy. That's a good question. Tyreek Hill did not have a good week last week. And, it's brought into question some of the offense with Tua. It was Tyreek and hold on. Oh, nobody's spamming me, but the chat is going crazy right now. Let's see. All right, I don't even know how many viewers I have right now. It's so weird. Total viewers 195, but what's my current viewers? Anyway, on Restream it says I have 3, but it looks like I have a lot more. Okay, it was Tyreek and who? Oh shoot, I'm so sorry, guys. Thielen. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. The experts picked Tyreek Hill. Okay. Wide receivers versus 49ers and then versus the Cardinals. 49ers defense against wide receivers and the Cardinals. 49ers are 4th. The Cardinals are 8th. So it's a little bit better matchup for Thielen by about 2 points. I guess based on the matchup, I guess the way I would look at it is what I've been doing over the last 2 days to describe a lot of things to a lot of players is Thielen's probably your steady 8 to 12. Tyreek could be, what does he put up recently? Let me just look real quick. Come on, where did the stats go? Okay, hold on 1 second. I'll be with he's had 23 2 weeks ago and he had 4 last week. So let's just say that that's his range, 4 to 23. So if you want to take the risk and go with Tyreek, you take that risk. But with Thielen, last week he got 7.6. 3 weeks ago he got 19.9. So let's just say that, he got 14. Let's say his range is 7 to 14 and Hills is, what did I say, 4 to 20 whatever. 4 to 23. So Tyreek's a little riskier than Thielen. I think Thielen gets you 7, 8, 9 points easy, maybe a little bit more. Tyreek, gives you a wider range. All right. Now I heard in some other fantasy that they don't want to start anybody from Kansas City because they're worried about Houston's defense. But Noah Gray, and I'm going to R2 Cecido right now. Stranger Gray. Let me just see what the experts say on that. I mean, Gray's been putting up okay points. He hasn't obviously been putting up what he did there for that 2-week span where he put up crazy numbers. They're saying Brenton Strange, probably because Vegas is not as good, but let's just see. Vegas against tight ends versus Vegas against tight ends is ninth. Um, Houston against tight ends is 28th. Technically speaking, Noah Gray has a better matchup, but remember, he has to split those catches with his buddy Travis Kelsey. Uh, Mrs. Mr. I forget her name, Taylor Swift. But I would probably go with Strange in this regard because he doesn't have to split so many with Gray, and that's the one thing that does worry me. All right, Shakir or more. Oh, well, that's let's see what the experts say on that one. That see when I go to a coin flip like that, Shakir has had some decent points, but definitely not consistent. My worry about Moore is that everything is tied to Caleb. Okay, the experts are saying DJ Moore. Let's just see what Shakir's at 12, 19. I would actually go with Shakir. They play New England. Last week he had 12.9. He had 19 before that. DJ Moore plays Detroit. 11, 7, 19, 23. I mean, in the last month he's done well, but I think it's a tougher matchup interdivisional with Detroit. They're a tough defensive team. The experts pick DJ Moore. I'm picking Khalil Shakir. So I'll let you make that decision. Do you want to go with the 20 experts and DJ Moore, or do you agree with me that Khalil Shakir has put up decent points the last 2 weeks, plays New England? I know they're interdivisional, but they're a lot worse. Detroit is a better team than Chicago. So that's why I think it'll be a little bit more difficult for DJ Moore. And they're pretty good defensively. They're not the greatest. They're not as great as they were. They've had a lot of injuries, but all right, let's see what we got here. This will be interesting. I don't really know how many people are online right now on TikTok. All right, if you're over, quick reset, okay? If you want to jump to the front of the line, you can send a gift. It can be a rose. You send a gift on a rose. You jump to the head of the line. That's what it says right above me. If you're, please hit that follow button on TikTok. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Also, let's see. I have a shop on TikTok. You can buy a T-shirt. So I'm talking about that in the scroll that goes below. So let's just see. All right, let me get back to it. Steve, pick one. It is. Let me just make this wider here. It's killing me. Pacheco, Hopkins, McMillan, or Njoku. All right, Pacheco hasn't been, Steve. Pacheco hasn't been getting the ball enough to put up decent fantasy points, and I don't think that that's going to change. I think that's in Andy Reid's playbook. I heard that weeks before this week, where they'll bring him along, but they might bring him along slow just so that he's ready for the playoffs. So I'm not sure about that one. I'm playing him. Hopkins, it's hit or miss. If Houston's defense is really that good, it brings into question how many times is Mahomes going to be able to pass and not be pressured. Njoku has DTR as his quarterback. He's new. Excuse me. And so I worry about his passing game, DTR's passing game, Dorian Thompson Robinson. I worry about what he's going to be doing in this game. All right. Like, is he going to turn the ball over? I know that he can use his feet, but if you look at what he's done so far this year, he's thrown a lot of interceptions, and that worries me. Okay. I was listening to another podcast and they said, well, he helps with his feet. He's not that bad of a play. I think the interceptions are a bad play. I don't like that. I would go with McMillan. He's had 2 good weeks in a row. He should have another good week against Dallas. Even if Evans has another big day like he did last week, McMillan had 14 points, so it's still a good number. I mean, I guess if you want to take a safe approach, you could go with Njoku because tight ends are always like quarterback's best friends. But I would go with McMillan in this case. I'm sure the experts probably pick Pacheco or Njoku, but you know what? I can put that in real quick, Steve, for you and let you know what the experts pick. I would pick McMillan. Maybe Njoku is your safe bet. I bet you the experts pick Pacheco because they always go with the people who, it's almost like an attention. Um, who has more attention? Whose brand is more recognizable, I guess. Yeah, right now they're picking Pacheco, and I just have to put Njoku in. Yeah, they say Pacheco. I would go with McMillan. Experts say Pacheco. I say McMillan, and my safety valve, I guess, could either be Pacheco because he might put up 7 to 8 points, or Njoku. But remember, Njoku. Oh, this is a flex position. Yeah, so Njoku might get 7, Pacheco might get 7. So you really could consider them both of us as steady picks. Oh, we did get some. How does this work now? Oh, there we go. Wait a second. Okay, Ethan, you don't have to spam me. All right, just okay. Tim sent. Okay, that's what it is. Steve sent a rose. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you guys. I'm just sort of working on a new system where I can get everything in one stream, which I like, but I have to separate out the TikTok, and it's a new page for me. So I have to, you guys don't care. It's a new system that I haven't used before, and I have to see how the gifts come up. Okay. So, Steve, I've answered that. I would go McMillan. The experts pick Pacheco. I see Pacheco and or Njoku is like your 7 to 10 points, maybe, let's say. And Jalen McMillan, my projection would be that he gets, 11 to 15 points. But anyway, so like 20 experts pick Pacheco. I pick Jalen McMillan. All right. And then Tim sent a burst. Let's see what Tim's question: who do I start at wide receiver? Judy McMillan, Christian Watson, Debo, Tillman. All right, let's go through this. I worry about Judy and Tillman because of DTR. He uses his feet, but he throws a lot of interceptions. Just as the example that I keep using is, I think I can see without these. I need to make this. Hold on one second, guys. I need to make something a little bit bigger for these. Yeah, there we go. All right, that helps. All right. So, Tim, I would say with Judy and Tillman, you have DTR. He throws a lot of interceptions. He uses his legs. I think when he gets pressure, rather than maybe looking for someone, or being able to find someone, he's going to use his legs and not throw the ball. I'm thinking the example that I keep using is, the difference between um, you know, Bo Nix the first 2 weeks and Jaden Daniels the first 2 weeks. Is he going to be Jaden Daniels, who was really good right off the get go, or is he going to be Bo Nix, who needs 1 to 2 weeks to really sort of find himself as the quarterback? I don't know. I don't have that question right now. And that's what worries me about Judy and Tillman. Christian Watson and Green Bay. I'll be very honest with you. And I try to be very objective with everything that I say and I do and all of that kind of information. But I stay away from Green Bay receivers because it's like grabbing 4 people off the street and betting on which one's going to win in a foot race. I don't know. Um, Excuse me, my allergies are, this cold is just driving me crazy. Okay. So I would not pick Watson because Watson could have 4 points, he could have 20 points, or is it Wick's time, or is it Dobbs' time, or is Jaden Reed going to get two touchdowns today? And Debo just has not been putting up any points of any relevance. He's just not been putting up points, and because of that, I know that I said that Purdy rebounds after a loss, but Debo has not been one of those people he's rebounded to. I'll just look it up. I'm going to go with McMillan here. Okay. I'm just going to cut to the chase, but I'll give you the Debo point. I think McMillan goes up against a weak Dallas team. Yes, they have Evans, but even it showed last week, Evans had 33 points or something like that, and McMillan had 14. So they can work even against a weaker team. And yeah, Debo has had under 5 points for 5 weeks in a row. So it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And some of those points are like 2.6, 3.4, 4.5. I mean, they're just super low. So I would go with McMillan. Now, the one thing is, and I've done this before throughout the years, and I know that it might worry some people, but or through the years, and even this year, somebody's had 2 or 3 good weeks in a row. The reason why I think it will stick with McMillan is because I know Mayfield's going to be throwing against the Cowboys, and he's shown that McMillan is someone that he throws to and has chemistry with, outside of Evans, obviously. So I do believe that he'll put up some good points. If you want a safe choice, I mean, I guess Jerry Judy would be your safe choice because you figure DTR probably picks the number one, but we don't know what kind of chemistry DTR and Judy have. Hold on one second. So I guess Judy could be your safe choice. Maybe he gets 6 to 12 points, but I see McMillan as getting like 8 to 14, 8 to 15 points this week. I always want to give you an option out. Like, okay, if you're debating this, maybe you go with Judy. Maybe he doesn't get 13 or more, like I always try to get in a 10-team league player, but maybe he gets you close. All right. Ethan, I'll get to your question. I hope you stop spamming. Um, Mixon, Irving, or Dottle? Dottle actually has a tough matchup because Tampa Bay in the last 4 weeks is number one against running backs defensively. So that's why I wouldn't be using him. It's hard for me to say don't worry about Mixon, but he has a tough matchup. Now, Dallas against the run. Let's just look that up real quick. I can't remember what they're ranked. Oh, they're number 3. Kansas City's number 8. So actually, Mixon has a better matchup than both Irving and Dottle. So I would go Mixon at this point. I do think Bucky will score some points. It might be a little bit more of a challenge given, the Cowboys are tied for second with 11.9, but the Buccaneers give up 9.1 on average over the last 4 weeks. So they're really tough. So I would go with Mixon. They all have tough matchups, given the defense over the last 4 weeks and what they average. All right. Let's see here. We have more gifts that came in. Again, I'm working on a new system, so I apologize. Can I make this smaller? Let me just move my screen around a little bit. Oh, that's nice. Okay, that works. What is that? What did I just do? Yeah, that works. Perfect. Okay. Let me move this around because I'm working on one stream to get everybody. And so, uh, total viewers, new followers. Oh, that's great. Gives me the new followers. All right, Ethan, thank you. Oh, Ethan sent me a bunch of coins. Thank you, Ethan. That is super nice of you. Yeah, mixing based on the matchup. Beto's here. Warren, Greg Reynolds, or Tank Dell. Ooh, Jalen Warren against Baltimore. Baltimore still has a good defense against running backs. Reynolds, you're talking about the backup for Detroit. Well, I'll see what the experts say. I know I always say that, but when it's a decision that isn't one that jumps off the page, it's usually where I start and I go, okay, do I agree? Do I not agree? Because I'll let you know if I don't agree. Tank Dell. Boy, Dell has not been. Yeah, they're saying Jalen Warren. Let me just see what he's been doing. He had 2 points, 8 points, 8 points, 13 points. Okay, so Jalen Warren, if you're lucky, gets 8 points. Tank Dell had 5. Kansas City, you can throw against, so there might be some upside. But against Jacksonville, Tank Dell only had 2.8, against Tennessee, 8.7, against Dallas, 7.8. So Tank Dell's probably like a safety net where he gets you, at least 7 points, Beto. Reynolds to me is the real crapshoot on this one. He's the real, like, if you want to gamble, you go with Craig Reynolds because I've read everything from he's going to get a decent amount of touches to he's going to be relegated to number 2 and you won't see him on the field very much. So I'm very mixed as to whether or not you should play him. I would believe, though, given just how they play defense and the fact that they are playing Chicago and there's a chance that they might be up by a little bit, that Reynolds will see the field. I do believe he'll see the field. And if they jump out to a significant lead, um, they probably put Reynolds in more than Gibbs because they don't want him getting hurt. Given so close to the playoffs. So I would say, go with Tank Dell if you want 7 to 10 points, let's say. He's more of a safety net. He could be a little bit lower. Well, I just think Warren going to get. Is there something going on with Najee that I don't know about? Because everybody's asking me about Warren. Let me just look. Oh, he's not injured. Oh, Najee had 2.6 points. Well, against Philadelphia, yeah. He goes up against Baltimore. Um, what did Warren get? Let's see. Hold on. What did if Najee got 2.6 against a Philly? Yeah, he got 2. They play a little bit better team. I think Warren and Najee get around 6 to 8 points, or let's just say 5 to 8 points. I think Tank Dell probably gets about 5 to 8 points, and I think Reynolds is your risk. He might get 13 points, sort of in line with Montgomery. He could get just 6 points. But if you want to take the risk, he does have a little bit higher upside. If you want to be a little conservative, I would either go with Warren or Dell. I would probably go with Warren only because I think it's easier to get the running back the ball than it is a wide receiver. Although they're playing Kansas City, and Kansas City does. Let me just see what Kansas City does against like multiple receivers because you have Nico and Tank Dell real quick. And I know we have a bunch of questions, and I'll get to that. Um, okay, let's see. Nope. Kansas City against wide receivers, real quick. I'm trying to figure out. Okay. Jacoby Myers and DJ Turner did well. Uh, Sterling Shepard, Ryan Miller did 8 and 6. Quentin Johnson and Palmer in week 14 got 13 and 10. So Tank Dell could probably get anywhere from 7 to 10 points. I would probably go Tank Dell's my safety net, 7 to 10. If you want to roll the dice, Beto, and go with Reynolds, he might have a higher ceiling. We don't know. He's kind of unproven, not tested very well. You could put him in there, but he could also get you like 3 points. But Tank Dell would be my safety net on that one. All right. Sorry that it took so long, guys. All right. Let's see. Gifters still the same amount. New followers. Yeah. Don't forget to hit follow. I will be live tomorrow. I'll be talking fantasy, but I won't have my computer with me. I'll be at the Cincinnati Cleveland game. And so I plan to be there early enough to show, like to go live and show you guys the stadium. I hope to even I have seats at the behind the end zone a little up high. What I hope to do there is show any developing plays on my end. I like that play rather than the 50 because I can see the plays develop. I'm not always a fan of sitting at the 50 because I can't really tell what's going on, like, depth wise, like where people are on the field and things. Because anybody on the far side looks like they're out of bounds to me. So I will be going live from the game as well. So, all right. So McMillan or Miller at flex? I would go McMillan only because we know what he's done the last 2 weeks. He's put up good numbers, so he has a track record. Oh, Tim, thank you for the rose. Did you have another question? And I'm not seeing one right now, but okay. I would go McMillan. Miller, to me, what you might want to do. The other thing too is McMillan has a good matchup with Dallas. I think Baker's going to be slinging the ball all day, so it'll be one of those games where, like last week, where Evans had 33 points and McMillan had like 14. I think it's going to be another kind of day because you can do that with the Cowboys all day long. They're not very good against wide receivers. Wait a second, let me double. Yeah, they're okay against the run. They're good against the run, but against the pass, they're 25th. So I think it's going to be one of those days where he's going to be slinging the ball all day long. Milky Boy sent a rose. Tim sent a rose. Judy or McMillan? I would go with McMillan because I don't like this DTR. He throws a lot of interceptions, and I don't know if he's, if he's just going to run the ball a lot when he gets in trouble or he's actually going to be able to throw. And for that reason, because of the matchup, now I know that you can throw against Cincinnati, but with the new quarterback, it throws everything off in my mind. So that's why I would go with McMillan. Maybe I'm being a little too conservative with this DTR, but I looked at his stats and he does throw a lot of interceptions. All right. I'm looking for Milky Boy, Brian Thomas Jr. or DJ Moore. Milky Boy, I would go Brian Thomas Jr. He's been consistent. All right. And I know I've said that in the past, and I don't know how long you've been watching me, but I've said that in the past, and then the player lays an egg. But he's had 11, 16, 12.6, 27. They go against Vegas. Vegas against the pass is 27th. It's a very good matchup for Brian Thomas Jr. While I don't expect him to get 27 points like he did last week, he could get, 11 or more against a very weak Vegas wide receiver defense. So that's why I would go with Brian Thomas Jr. All right. Last time DTR started a game, he beat the Steelers. Okay. Well, let's look up. Let's look it up. Dorian. But you're talking about last year. I mean, this year, this is what I'm looking at. He's been in 2 games. Dorian Thompson Jr. has been in 2 games. He's thrown 0 touchdowns and he has 3 interceptions. That's not, in my mind, a good mix. Okay. And if he beat the Steelers, he beat them last year? And, you know, I mean, were the Steelers, I don't think the Steelers were last year where they were this year, if you will. So he throws a lot of interceptions. I know you can throw the ball against Cincinnati and their defense isn't great. I don't like all the interceptions. He's thrown 2 interceptions to Cincinnati in week 7, and he threw 1 interception to Kansas City. And those are 2 teams that you can pass against. And he threw, like I said, 3 interceptions. He did run for 44 yards against Cincinnati, and he ran for 16 against Kansas City. So he will use his legs, and he might have over 60, 70 yards against Cincinnati, but he might also only have 120 yards passing. So I just think that there's too many unknowns for me to really get behind him, Tim. And if he beat the Steelers, obviously he did last year. I guess I could look this up. Might as well, right? Let's just look it up. 24. Let's look up last season. Okay, so last season, oh, they have so many ads on this site. Okay, he played Baltimore. They lost. He played Pittsburgh. They won 13-10. He had a whopping 165 yards passing and 1 interception, no touchdowns. And he rushed for 20 yards. So you're not, I mean, here's his stat lines: 165 yards passing against the Steelers, Tim, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he had 20 yards rushing. And they won 13-10. Obviously, the Steelers could not score. So I'm just not expecting. I mean, to beat Cincinnati, you have to put up 30 or more points, essentially. Okay. I mean, Cleveland does. They don't have that great of a defense. I don't think that he gets the job done. I don't think he can get them 21 points, or he'll have a hard time getting them 20 points. And Tim, please don't take this personally. I'm not going after you. I'm just saying you're right. And I looked at the data, and that's what it's showing me. All right. Should I put Bucky Irving at flex this week or Garrett Wilson? I would put Bucky Irving at flex. Okay, Nate Cap sent and John P. All right, you guys are Nate and John P. Let me just put you on the list. Nate. Where's I see John? Where's Nate? Nate Centerose and John P. Am I missing anyone? I don't think I am. I'm trying to keep track of it. It's not as easy on whatever platform I'm on. Let's see. All right. Don't forget to hit that follow button on TikTok. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. It's very important. I go live all the time. Oh, Mr. Magic's back. All right, Mr. Magic, baby. What's up? You're saying Bengals or Falcons defense? That's a great question. I know I will look it up in just 1 second. Let me get to the. Hey, Jose is here. Jose, you'll be after John P. Okay, Mr. Magic, hang with me. I might do a gifted one with Nate and then jump back to where's Nate's question though? Let's see. I always get hunchy in this. I got to get a my chair won't go down anymore, and this stupid desk I'm at is so low. Nate. Where's Nate? Nate, I'm seeing John. Oh my God, I need to make this bigger, don't I? Okay, where is Nate? Nate. Okay, T or D Henry and Flex. Oh wow. So T Higgins or Derrick Henry? I guess you're down on Henry because he didn't have a great week, huh? Let me just look up D Henry. He didn't put up great points. This is John P. I'm looking for you, Nate. And then Mr. Magic, I'll get to you, and then I'll go to you, Jose. I promise. I'll get to everybody, and someone else has gifted. John P, Nate, John P. I'm just looking. Jose. Oh, Jose gifted as well. Okay. Thank you, Jose. Okay, he had 6.7 against the Giants, but it was a blowout, so they're probably going to allow him to rest. Pittsburgh against the run, and that's probably why you're thinking you're going to sit him. Pittsburgh against the run is 13th. They give up 15.5 points over the last 4 weeks on average to, I would go with Derrick Henry. I mean, I have a hard time saying don't start Derrick Henry over anybody, really. Okay. Yes, he did not have a great week last week, but they blew the team out. Those things are going to happen. Yes, he's not been putting up 20 or 30 points, but this is a big game for them, and they know that they need him. You figure he's probably going to score at least a touchdown, at least one. So he's going to be in double digits as it is. Ooh, all right, Jose, I can probably get to your question because you're saying Cup or Bucky. I have a hard time endorsing Cup because of 2 of the last 3 weeks he's gotten 0 and like 3 points. I would go Bucky. Now it's a little bit tougher of a matchup, but Miami against the pass. Where are they at here? They're 17th. They give up 22.3. But with Cup, everything's with Puka. And the one thing I finally read, Mr. Magic, I'll get to you next. I'm going to look for Nate. Nate sent a rose. Thank you, John, for the additional roses. I do appreciate it very much. I do. I know I sound like a robot when I say that, but I do. I'm always so nervous about getting everybody. And John P. Is this the same John P? Yeah, John P. Rod. Juwan Jennings or Myers. I would go Myers. He has a great matchup, right, against Jacksonville, I want to say. Yeah, I would go Myers. Juwan Jennings is very inconsistent. That's what worries me. 2 more for you. Love or Daniels and Stranger Henry. Okay, I would probably go Daniels, but let me look. Let me look that up. I'm going to go to Mr. Magic after I get to Jose. I promise. Mr. Magic, just hang with me. I know you're annoyed. These are people that have sent me gifts. Actually, there's gifts now on YouTube as well. You can send like you do, like, I don't know if they're roses or not, but you can send things for like a penny, like you do on TikTok. I'm not saying you need to do that. I'm saying that is an option anyway. Okay, Jane Daniels or Love. Love. Yeah, the experts are picking Jane Daniels 23, 28, 32. I would go Jane Daniels too. He's been playing well. I know he goes up against Philadelphia. Let's just see what Philly does against quarterbacks. The Phillies. Oh my God, the Phillies. Good God, the Eagles. Like I grew up, I'll just be honest with you. I grew up in a baseball card shop, so everything was baseball growing up. The Eagles averaged 19.6 points to quarterbacks, so that's not that bad. They're not that tough against quarterbacks. So I would go Jaden Daniels because Jordan Love, honestly, comparatively, doesn't put up the points on a regular basis. 17, 14, 19, 14. I know he goes up against New Orleans, but you know, against Jacksonville, he had 6.7 points, against Houston, 18, against the Rams, 17. He just doesn't put up enough points. Now, here's the way I would look at it. Okay, because I don't want to rule out Love and you go, you told me to play Daniels and I should have started Love. I see Love as a little bit of a riskier pick. He probably, let's just look it up. Let's see what the Saints are against quarterbacks before I start shooting my mouth off and get everything wrong. So he said the Eagles are 13. Where are the Saints? The Saints are 16. So they're 20.2. The Eagles are 19.6. Not much of a difference, okay? If you want to take the risk and go with Jordan Love, you can. But it's, his is like 11 points to 22 points. And Jaden Daniels, to my mind, is less risky, and he gets you, 17 to 21 points. So I would rather take the less risky Daniels going up against Philadelphia. And they're not, like I said, the Saints are 16th. The Eagles, or as I say, the Phillies, are 13th. All right. Mr. Magic, let's go. Bengals or Falcons D? Let's see. They both have good, favorable matchups. The Falcons obviously play the Giants, but the Giants are starting lock, so it might not be as easy of a pick as it once was if they were going to start Boyle. There for a while, they were going to start Boyle. Okay, the experts are picking Atlanta. I would probably say Atlanta is a good choice because with Dorian Thompson Robinson does use his legs a lot, so he'll get out of jams. He might score a touchdown. Oh boy. Cincinnati had 19 points against Tennessee, 8. Okay. Atlanta 20-0-11. Boy, they're both all over the place. Yeah, I would probably go with Atlanta here though. Figure that let's just pick another team that's maybe like the Giants. Carolina, they got 5 points. Let's see, Cincinnati against Cleveland. Cleveland against sort of a quarterback that I'm not sure of. Against the Chargers, they got 3 points. Vegas, they got 10. I don't know. I'm really leaning towards Cincinnati because what's his face does throw a lot of interceptions, DTR. The experts pick Atlanta. I would go with Cincinnati because I think DTR throws a lot of interceptions and you can almost put him down for at least one in today's matchup. So I'm going Bengals, Mr. Magic. The experts are going Falcons. All right. Don't forget to hit that like button on both YouTube and TikTok. Also, hit that follow button on TikTok so you know when I'm live. I'll be live during the games tomorrow. I probably won't be doing a show like this tomorrow. And then I might not do a show Monday either. Depends when we leave and what, if I'm tired or not. But I'll be back on Tuesday, Christmas Eve at some point. All right. And I'll probably be doing something on Christmas because there's games. I got to talk to you all. All right. And don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube so you know when I'm live. All right. And my allergies are crazy. I'm sorry if my eyes water. Okay. Am I missing any gifts right now? Let's see. John P. I've talked to him. Njoku or Strange, Murray or Daniels. Those are new. Njoku or Strange. The thing that worries me about Njoku, John P. Rod, is that, and I never found Nate's, by the way. Nate, if you're there, send me your question again, please. Njoku or Strange. Let me put that in. I'm worried about Njoku and DTR working together. So I have that as an issue. Now, I know not everybody feels that way, and I think they're going to take Strange on this one. Yeah, they're going to take the experts take Strange. I take Strange because they go up against Vegas. Um, Vegas against Vegas does give up 5.9 points, but we're talking tight ends here, so it isn't a horrible matchup. I'm worried about Njoku. I guess the way I look at it is if you want Strange, you can get him. Probably he gives you 8 points. If you feel like you need more points and you want to take a risk where Njoku might get you 3 points, he could get you 15. You can take that upside. But the less risk in my mind would be Strange because he probably gets you, 6 to 8 points. All right, Murray or Daniels. I'm going to look this one up. I'm leaning towards Daniels off the top of my head, but let's just see what we got here. I think they're going to say Murray because of the matchup. Nope, they're saying Daniels. Well, I got to tell you that I like Kyler Murray's matchup against Carolina much better than Daniels against Philly. But Murray has not put up a ton of points against a weaker New England team. Last week, he only had 10 points. Against Seattle, he had 11. He's not putting up a healthy number of points. He had 20 2 weeks ago against Seattle. So I'm really worried about that. Now, I think that Jane Daniels probably gets you, what did I say, 17 to 21 points in that range this game. I don't think he gets you over 21 points, but against Philadelphia last time, he had 14 points. And my stats, which is a video both on YouTube and an important video on YouTube and TikTok, you can see it after this live stream. And I suggest you do. I did my own research on players that play a team for a second time, and Daniels had 14 points against Philadelphia. And 70% of the time, if a player scores between 10 to 15 points against a team the first time, 70% of the time, they increase their points the second time. So I look for Daniels to increase his points there. Now, it could be 1 or 2 points, but 2 points is still 16. 3 points is obviously 17. You guys can do the math. I'm not going to be a total idiot telling you how to add 2 to 14, but so I think he's good for that. I think the problem with Murray is he could get you 10 points, he can get you 20 points. He has a much wider range and there's risk behind it. But if you want to take that because you don't like the matchup with Philly, just know that there's a greater risk behind taking Murray. He has not really been sharp on whatever you want to call it over the last few weeks. All right, did I miss a gift here? No, I don't think I did. Mooney June. What am I missing there? June. AR or Lamar? Aaron Rodgers, Tim? Or Lamar? Is it like a super flex? Who am I missing? AR. AR. Who's AR other than Aaron Rodgers? There is somebody else, isn't there? Um, See, I get real literal with these things. Anthony Richardson. I'm sorry. Okay, you're right. Um, Anthony Richardson or Lamar. I have a hard time. I know Lamar doesn't do well against Pittsburgh. I have a hard time saying don't start Lamar though. Okay. I'll see what the experts say. This is one of those tough ones. I really have a hard time saying don't start Lamar Jackson. I just am. The experts pick Lamar Jackson 100% to 0. Let me just see. Lamar last time against Pittsburgh, he played them, right? Has he not played them? Oh, he did. He had 15.9. Well, in my studies, anybody who gets 15 or over, 80% of the time they go backwards and get less points. So I guess the way I'm looking at it is, and Richardson plays Tennessee, they're a weak team. Let's just see Tennessee against quarterbacks. I wish they had a Titans. Titans are 22nd. Pittsburgh's 28. The better matchup is actually Lamar. The Steelers are going backwards. I guess the way I look at it, though, is Lamar does have a tough time against the Steelers. You know, he's probably good for, let's say, 14 to 17 points as a base. So if you start Lamar, go into it saying, I'm going to get 14 to 17 points from Lamar. If you want to go with, now I just, the name, if you want to go with Richardson, know that he's going to have a wider range. Let's say his range against Tennessee, and he didn't play Tennessee the first time. Against New England, he got 23 points. Against Denver, he got 15. Let's say his range is between, well, he got 13 against Detroit, but he got 12 against Houston. So let's say it's 12 to 23. So he has a wider range. He can get 12, Anthony Richardson. He can get 23. Do you want to risk it? Lamar probably gets you, as I said, on average 14 to 16, 14 to 17 points. He's good for that. He might not get you any more than 16 points today. All right. Anthony Richardson could get you 23, but he could get you 12. So it's sort of what's more comfortable for you. Sort of that known 15 points, which isn't great for Lamar Jackson, but still okay. It's kind of average for a quarterback. It's not like he gets 0 points against Pittsburgh or 4 points. He still gets 15. Anthony Richardson, again, 12 to 23. So you have to pick between, if you want to take that risk or not, Tim. All right. Beckett, choose 3. Aaron Jones, Jamar Gibbs, James Cook, or Bucky. I would go Jamar Gibbs. I want to say James Cook. Yeah. New England against the run. Let me just look it up real quick. Watch him be really good. New England. Come on. Yeah, the Patriots are not good. Cook has a good matchup. The Patriots are 27th against running backs. I would go Gibbs, Cook. You only gave me 4. You gave me 4. All right. Aaron Jones. In Minnesota. Wait, did they play Monday night? No. They play Seattle. Seattle against running backs. Is 17. I would pick. I would pick. Where'd you go? I would go Aaron Jones, Jamar Gibbs, and James Cook. I think Bucky should have a decent game. The only thing that worries me is that Dallas is actually tied for number 2 against running backs, giving up 11.9 points. And Bucky's going to share some of those carries with Rachaad White. So I would go with the other 3 on that one. Ford or Pollard? That's a great question. I know Pollard. Well, let me just look it up. I like Ford against Cincinnati. Okay, the experts pick Pollard. Okay, the Colts versus the Bengals against the run. The Bengals are 31st. The Colts are 26th. The Colts give up 21.6. The Bengals give up 25.8. So it's a 4-point difference. Again, the experts pick Tony Pollard. The reason why Pollard sort of scares me is against Cincinnati, he had 8.5. Jacksonville, 13. The Chargers, 8. He hasn't been extraordinarily consistent. Now, I know Ford, this is the first time sort of in this role, but against Kansas City, he had 17 points, and he's playing Cincinnati. What is Kansas City against the run? Kansas City against the run is actually 8th, and the Bengals are 31st. So he even had a harder matchup, and he scored 17 points. I would go with Ford, but again, the experts are all picking Pollard, but I would go with Ford because he did well against Kansas City, and they're a much better team than Cincinnati against the run. And they've been a quality team against the run all season. So it's not like it's something new. Am I missing somebody that John P. Rod is back? John P. Rod. John P. Rod. You need to I know there's not a lot of time left, John P. Rod, but you should subscribe. Oh, you sent the hat. Did I miss the hat? They put the hat on me. I'm so small though. You can't. Anyway, I'm small on my screen. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys. I think we're at 2,400 likes. That's it. Oh, come on. We got to be at 3,000 by now. John P. Rod, who continues to gift me, and I do appreciate. And I'm not saying that as a drone. Mixon Myers T. Well, Mixon has a tougher matchup against Kansas City. Kansas City against the run, like I said, is 8. Myers has a much better matchup. If you want to go pure matchup, because Myers goes up against Jacksonville. Oh, where are they? Right? He goes up against, what am I looking at? I know you guys, Jacksonville's 19th against wide receivers, but everybody scores a lot. And then T goes up against Cleveland. They're 20th. They're actually, 0.1 worse than the Jags. JP Rod sent a heart. Thank you, JP Rod. Mixon T Myers. I bet you the experts picked Mixon. I'm going to look this one up because Myers has a good matchup. T is a good matchup, or they have sort of equal matchups. But T is the number 2. Myers is the number 1. I would lean towards Myers because he's the number 1. But T does have good point. Does put up. What just happened to my chat? But let me look them up as a total. But Mixon, Kansas City, as I said, against running backs, gives up 14.5 points. And, if Mixon gets 14 points, I think you'll say, hey, that's a pretty good day. T and Myers, T has to split with Jamar Chase. They're going to get him the ball. Myers is the number 1 and should get the bulk of, you're looking at Jags and Browns, 23 points. So, T and Myers could at least get 13 points, but that might be sort of maxing out. Maybe Myers gets 15. I think Mixon gives you a guaranteed 12 to 15. I think T gets you 10 to 14. I think Myers gets you 12 to 15. I think Myers, I always lean towards the running backs over a wide receiver because all you have to do is hand the ball off. Let's see. And Mixon didn't play the last time, did he? I want to say did he play against Kansas City? Kansas City. Kansas. Oh, they're not in the same division. Never mind. That's right. Yeah, so I would probably go Mixon, Myers, and T. And the only real reason, John P. Rod, is because Mixon probably, like I said, gets 12 to 15. Myers should get you 12 to 15, although I don't always trust that Oakland offense. And Mixon, all you have to do is hand the ball off to him. You don't have to make a pass, make it catchable, make sure he catches the ball, all of those things like you do with a wide receiver. And T, since he splits all that time with, or splits the catches with Jamar Chase, I just think it's tough to pinpoint when he has a good game. But let me just see what the experts say. I never finished that up. They say Joe Mixon, then T. Higgins, then Jacoby Myers. But let's look up T. Higgins. He's had 17-3, 15-25. He's been relatively consistent. Did not do well against Dallas. Last time against Cleveland, he had 16.2. But again, the information that I found out was when someone gets over 15, 80% of the time they go down in numbers. So, which means he still might get 15 points. You have a good problem here. Probably T gets you 15, give or take, let's say 3 points. Let's say 12 to 15. Myers probably gets you 12 to 15. Mixon probably gets you 12 to 15. The experts and myself pick Mixon. Let me see if there's any information I can. Now, Higgins, when it comes to matchup rating, has the best matchup rating. So that's something to consider. Season average 11.4. Mixon average is 17. Yeah, I would probably go Mixon, but if you like T because they're playing Cleveland and or Myers because they're playing Jacksonville, I think those are safe bets. But I would say Mixon holds a little bit because he's a running back and the other two are wide receivers. I think T will get the ball. I don't always trust the I keep saying Oakland, the Raiders, Las Vegas offense that much. So, but I would go Mixon. Sorry I took so long, guys. Don't forget to hit that follow button on TikTok. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Cam. Oh, that was Cam. No, that's a different one. Wow, we're getting a lot of Joe Mixon. Is it because they play today, I guess? Joe Mixon, Bucky Irving. Oh, where'd you go? Joe. Oh, the chat is going crazy. Kevin DeGowan's here. Joe Mixon, Bucky Irving, or Aaron Jones. Irving actually has a tougher matchup. Aaron Jones. I looked him up earlier. Seattle against the run is 17th. They give up 17.4. Mixon 14.5. I mean, Aaron Jones has the best matchup, but I do have a hard time saying, okay, don't start Joe Mixon. I think Joe Mixon still gets 12 to 15 points, but Aaron Jones could get a little bit higher than that and has a better matchup against the Seahawks. And I don't think Cam Akers takes enough touches away to make it really hurt Aaron Jones. So I guess what I'm saying is I would probably go Aaron Jones. I'm sure the experts, I'll just look this up, but I bet you the experts pick Joe Mixon. Let me just see here. Okay, Aaron Jones, Bucky Irving. Yeah, they pick Mixon. Bucky would be their number 2, and then they pick Aaron Jones. I would actually pick Aaron Jones based on the matchup. And I believe, let me double check, 17, 15, 8, 18. So 3 of the last 4 weeks, he's gotten over 13. And the week that he didn't, he got 8.3 against Arizona. Arizona is the Cardinals. Oh, why can't I find the Cardinals are 20th. Seattle is 17th. Let me just see if I can find anything in this. Chicago's bad against it. Against the run, that is. Atlanta is 6th against the run. And Aaron Jones got 15 against Atlanta. So, yeah, I would go Aaron Jones. The experts pick Mixon. So, 20 experts versus me. The reason why I would go Aaron Jones is Mixon had 8, 19, 7. He's been a little inconsistent compared to Aaron Jones. All right, let's keep rolling here. Joe Mixon or Chase Brown? You got to go Chase Brown. I mean, Kansas City's 8th, Cleveland's 19th. You got to go Chase Brown. He's been putting up big numbers. Hey, Kevin McGowan, how's it going? Tight end Andrews or Strange for my flex, Ford or McMillan? Ooh, very good questions. Andrews or Strange? I'll look that up. McMillan or Ford? That's a good question. See, I would take the gamble and say Ford. I'll see what the experts say on both of these. Andrews, because Strange is, we don't have, as much. Yeah, they're picking Mark Andrews still. The Raiders and Steelers against tight ends, though. Let's see. Steelers are 17th. The Raiders are 9th. The Raiders are a tougher matchup, so Andrews actually has a better matchup. So I would go with Andrews, and the experts pick Andrews. Ford or McMillan? Let me look that up because those are two players that I feel should have good weeks this week. They might not, get 25 points, but they're picking Ford. I would probably pick Ford going up against that Cincinnati defense. And he got 17 points against Kansas City, and they're much better or tougher against the run than Cincinnati. So for that reason, I would go with Jerome Ford. I do think McMillan is a good pick, though, and I'm glad you picked him up, Kevin. That was very smart. But I think Ford is the better pick over McMillan. Jalen McMillan or Mooney, I would pick McMillan. He's got a Mick in there. I got to remember that. McMillan. I would pick up McMillan. Mooney has not. If you look what McMillan has done over the last 2 weeks, he's had 14 and 19 points. Has Mooney even gotten to double digits? Let's just see. I think he's not been doing well. He had 0 points, 17 points, 3 points, 3 points. So 3 of the last 4 weeks, he's gotten 3 or below points. I just can't endorse him to play. He's just not putting up points. I wouldn't want to do that to you. So I would go Jalen McMillan. I would think with McMillan, I've been endorsing him. He's gotten 14 and 19 points the last 2 weeks. But even if he doesn't get 14 points, I think he's good for 8 to 10. And Darnell Mooney isn't even necessarily good for over 4. So for that reason, I would go Jalen McMillan. How do you feel about DeAndre Hopkins? Well, the problem of it is I think, right, Mahomes is going to start. He's got that bad ankle. I don't know how much he's going to be able to run out of the pocket. Plus, Elise is asking me. Oh, thank you. Okay, gotcha. I thought I might have skipped you, and you're like, please get to me because I've had that too. I'll look up Hopkins. I think he's been a little inconsistent. The best pickup, midseason pickup so far has been Devontae Adams. Yeah, he's 6, 11, 11, 12. Against Houston, did he play? I don't think he was on their team yet. Against Vegas, he had 11. Against the Chargers, he had 11. Cleveland's just 6. I think DeAndre Hopkins probably gets you about 11 points, give or take 2 this week. I don't think he puts up 24. I don't think Kansas City's defense is that way. I think Houston will bring pressure, obviously, to an injured Patrick Mahomes, and that, the left tackle is no good on Kansas City. So, I think DeAndre Hopkins has an average day for a wide receiver, gives you, 11, give or take 2. So, 13 would be above average, but I don't know that he gets that high. I would say 10, give or take 2. Colts or Falcons defense. A lot of people are picking the Falcons defense since they go up against the Giants. But the Giants have Drew Lock playing. They don't have Tim Boyle. It would have been much better for the Falcons defense to have Tim Boyle. But their offense is not so great. Okay, the experts are picking Atlanta. I'm assuming because they're going up against the Giants. Atlanta did get 20 points against Las Vegas last week. That's interesting. Indianapolis. The way I look at it is Indy's probably a real steady. Well, they got 3 points against Tennessee the last time. They'll probably improve. So maybe Tennessee gets you 5 points if you're lucky. So maybe that's what you feel like. Okay, Tennessee gets you like 5 points, and Atlanta could easily top that. Their minimum is probably, hey, Juan Rodriguez, I'm JP Rod. Hey, JP Rod. Don't forget to subscribe JP Rod on YouTube because I don't always put up the same videos, and I don't know. It's just it's nice to subscribe to both, or at least in my mind it is. So that's one way to look at it. So yeah, I would go Atlanta on this one. Pick up K Miller or Spears. I don't know that Spears. I think K Miller's obviously going to get the ball. He's going to get the ball a lot. Okay. The thing with Spears is I don't know that he's going to get. Uh, I don't know that he's going to get the ball that much at all. I'm not seeing anything like that. Let's see, Pollard. Yeah, I think Pollard still gets a chunk of that, and for that reason, I would go Kendre Miller because he's more of a number one than Spears is. I don't know that Spears is going to have a lot of touches. Jennings or Shakir, I would probably go Shakir. I'll 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 look up what the so-called experts say. That's mean to say. They're experts. Just 20 guys like from Roto World and Fantasy Pros and all that. Jennings has been inconsistent. Shakir's been inconsistent. Oh, they're picking Juwan Jennings. Really? Against Miami, huh? They're picking Juwan Jennings. He had 424, 7, 6. I mean, he's had low numbers. Shakir has had 12, 19. Yeah, I'd go Shakir against New England. They haven't played them yet? Oh, they play them week 16 and week 18. Yeah, I would go Shakir on this one. The experts pick Jennings. So if you want to go with the experts, you can go, and it's 100% to 0. So, like, for instance, a lot of them have Jennings ranked 19, 22nd, 16, and they have Shakir 29, 31, 29, 31, 29, 28. So, but the ranking of the players sometimes with these experts is just like how good they think they are overall, but what are they really producing? It's that old John Wooden quote of, don't, or somebody, I don't know if it's John Wooden, don't mistake activity for achievement. Just because somebody's doing something doesn't mean they're achieving anything. And I see that in Juwan Jennings. I see that in the 49ers right now. Kendre or Swift. I see a lot of people had picked Swift. Let me just look that up. I guess everybody is live now. My numbers have dropped off, which is fine. They're saying the experts are saying DeAndre Swift. Let me just see. The Lions versus Green Bay and running backs. Okay. Green Bay is 17th. The Lions are 23rd. Yeah, so DeAndre Swift has a better matchup. I would go with DeAndre Swift. Has he been putting up any points though? 9, 4, 8, 9. I would say here's the way I would look at it. Oh, JP Rod sent a gummy bear, or whatever they call it on TikTok. Gummy bear. Thank you very much, JP Rod. I hope you subscribed and followed today. That would be awesome. They're saying Swift. I would say Swift gets you 8 points, give or take 2. Well, I would say his range is like 7 to 10 points, Swift, all right? Kendre is a little bit of an unknown. He could get you, 15. He could get you 5. So if you want to take the risk, Joey, you can. Otherwise, I would go with, hey, all right. You do subscribe. Yeah. Okay. Well, on YouTube, you can subscribe without paying. That's a membership on YouTube. Anyway, I hate how, I wish the terms were more universal. All I meant was like subscribe on YouTube, not join a membership, but just subscribe, which is free, and that way you know when I'm live on YouTube as well. All right. Yeah, you subscribe. Yeah, gotcha. Perfect. So I would go. I would say that Swift is, you know, 8-ish points. I'd say Kendry Miller is more of a risk, so depends on how you want to go there. Okay, Wyatt. Start 2. Kendry Miller, Taylor Jr., Madison, Rico, ETN. Well, let me see what the experts say, because this is another one. Obviously, you're asking because it's a tough decision. I mean, I'm not blowing smoke here. It is. The reasons why I'm a little leery on Taylor and Miller is because they're a little bit of an unknown. Kendry Miller, ETN, Taylor, Madison, Rico. Okay, now I can only put 4 in at a time. They have Kendry Miller over Travis Etienne, then Madison, and then Taylor. So I'm going to take Taylor out and put in Rico. They're saying start Rico Dottle, but I'm picking 2 here. So, but Rico Dottle up against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is number 1 against the run, and that's why I'm leery of saying start him. But given the unknown with Miller and Taylor, I would almost say you could go with Dottle and Etienne as sort of a baseline conservative, 5, they get at least, 5 to 10 range with these guys, because although Rico Dottle had 14 the last 2 weeks, Tampa Bay's tougher against the run. So I would look for them to be more like how he played Philadelphia and got 7 points, to be honest with you. But it's a sure 7 points. So if you want to swap out Rico or ETN, and I would put Miller over Taylor. So if you're gonna, like, I would go Rico and Miller or Rico and ETN. Now, if you want to go completely unknowns, you can go Miller and Taylor. I hope I made myself straight there. Do you think Bengals would do the miracle and get to the playoffs? The problem why the Bengals aren't going to make the playoffs is they have too many teams to jump. They're like, of the teams in the hunt, they're like in last place. What are they? 4-8. They just have too many losses at this point. Or maybe they're not 4-8. Maybe they're, well, I can look it up. Let me look it up. Standings. Come on, come on, come on. They're 6-8. They've won 2 in a row. So they were 4-8, but let's see. Cleveland's been eliminated. Do they give me playoff? I just think being 6-8 and other teams being 9-6, Indianapolis is 6-8, Baltimore's 9-5, Miami's 6-8. I mean, if they win every game and a couple teams lose 1 or 2 games, they could make the playoffs, but it's probably like a 70% chance. It's not that close. Let's see, playoff. Okay. Yeah, the Bengals are 10th. ESPN has them in 10th. But you have, what is it? The top 7 make it. So the Chargers, Broncos, and Colts. No. The Ravens, Chargers, and Broncos are in, and then you have 6-8 Indy, 6-8 Miami, 6-8 Cincinnati. Cincinnati would have to win out and go 9-8 and hope that Denver or the Chargers lose their next 2 games. And then you have to see what the tiebreaker is. Yeah. Yeah, win every single game, which I think they have a decent schedule, so they could. Let's just see what their schedule is. They have Cleveland, Denver, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. The only reason why they would beat Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh rests some of their starters. They should beat Cleveland. They can beat Denver. And I think it'll be tough to go up against Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh might rest some folks, and so they might be lucky there. All right, everybody. I am going to jump off. I might come back on, so it's good to have subscribed on YouTube and follow on TikTok. I really do appreciate it today, and I'll be live streaming before the game and hopefully during the game tomorrow in Cincinnati when Cincinnati plays Cleveland. So until then, take care, everybody.